let us all do we can to build a better future.
Roger Meadows, my fellow Gen Xer and our essentially an honorary producer, wanted to send this off to me. It's about a public bank bill that's being pushed in New York. And it is it's an attempt to allow for the development of public banks, and it's Queens, the state senator from Queens, James Sanders Jr., has been trying to allow for the green lighting of public banks. So what is happening is he just keeps on getting stymied, in some cases by fellow Democrats who are in some cases being lobbied by major bank players in the banking industry. And it's really disheartening to see this, that there's an option that North Dakota has had for a long time. It works. And just not being able to get this forward, to get good banking services at this point to people, to the people who need it, people who in some cases may not trust standard banks or who cannot afford the fees and the charges at public banks, or who don't understand public banks or feel that they are predatory. All these things are absolute factors as to why somebody might not have a standard bank account. And here is an option that has a proven track record in North Dakota. Why not allow the rest of the country to go forward with this and provide reasonable banking services to the citizenry? Let the people have access to financial products in a way that is not designed to get as much profit out of your bank clients as possible.
Well, the reason why we're probably seeing such a pushback is because public banks would give the people more power. Public banks would give people more freedom. Public banks would be able to give individuals their chance to, one, again, be more financially solvent and independent, and two, public banks can help out the communities as well. So there's always going to be a pushback. Unfortunately, I wish this didn't happen in New York State. Again, there's a lot of great activists and organizers that Roger Meadows has informed us about. Keep on leading the fight. The fact that they're pushing back against you so hard, the fact that they've been standing against not only this public banking bill, but also against the Campaign for New York Healthcare Act, it's quite clear that the establishment is afraid. And they want people to be demoralized. They want people to stop asking questions. They want people to be silent and obedient, to which I have to say to Roger Meadows and every single individual that's been leading the charge, not only for the Campaign for New York Healthcare, but also for this public banking bill and all the other policy issues that are happening in New York State for the state level, redouble your efforts. You have them right where you want them. Do not compromise with these politicians. You don't owe them a goddamn thing.
Well, it's disgraceful to me. The one thing that we know, I mean, I think that everybody knows, is when you concentrate power in a single institution, or even a few institutions, or with different people, and usually consolidation of power also involves consolidation of cash. It's money and it's assets. It's financial assets. And one of the things I think that could be done to essentially strip some power over the banking industry in this country, which does not often act in the best interests of everyday people, would be to encourage, again, credit unions and public banks. Mm-hmm. That we go to a not-for-profit or to a public model, and get that money and get that dependency out of for-profit institution banking systems, and get it into either not-for-profit credit unions where the profits are shared with banking members, or again the public bank where it's done in the public interest. Banking is offered in the public business. Let's strip some powers away from the banking industry. and give and let people manage their finances, manage their cash apart from that. Let people get mortgage loans that truly make sense, or student loans, or whatever it is that people are needing, business loans, where the person who is analyzing you're doing the underwriting is looking at, okay, does this product make this much sense for this individual, rather than does this product make the most sense for our bank.
Yeah. Well, and I'm looking here in the live stream chat too. Everyone's saying, public banks are beneficial for the community. Public banks are what's needed for financial freedom. So, why is there such a pushback from the political establishment? It's because the political establishment want all of you to be beholden to them. They want you to believe that the politicians will save the day. They want you to believe, especially the bastards in corporate media, want you to think that the Democratic and Republican lawmakers that we see on TV 24/7 actually have a plan, actually have maybe some sort of miracle bill that's just in Congress right now that will make our lives better. We've been waiting for how long? 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, more so, for them to help out the American people. And since then, what are we seeing? Inflation on the rise. People who lack the income and the financial resources to do generational wealth, such as owning homes and properties. We're seeing firsthand people struggling with student debt and medical debt. There's no Federal Jobs Guarantee Act. There's no UBI. So what do we have to do? We have to take the initiative ourselves and put pressure on these politicians. And it looks like at the state level, it's our best option right now, especially with states that have ballot initiatives. Now, if your state doesn't have a ballot initiative, well, then to our audience members that do live in those states, now's the time to get aggressive and demand ballot initiatives. You don't have to be polite to these politicians. They are public servants. They work for us, not the other way around. So to the people in New York State, do not despair. Do not give up. They're afraid of you. So make them afraid. Ensure to them that you're not going anywhere and that this fight is only getting started.
Absolutely. Yeah, just keep fighting. I mean, and it sounds like the bill here that Sanders is promoting, as it states here in the article from the city, it doesn't automatically create public banks. It allows cities to apply for public banking charters with the state's Department of Financial Services. The cities have to show that they have the financial reserves and safeguards, that they're not doing this under political influence. That it requires some real work on the part of the cities to ensure that these are solvent banks that are going to be able to operate properly. It's at this point, some of the opponents of the bill are trying to get past bills that will allow them to study the feasibility of public banks.
Well, speaking of which, I actually want to, before we move on to the next segment, I want to acknowledge Roger Meadows, who tipped a $2 Rockfin chat in here. And so let's keep this in the segment. It is really only one person holding this up. The Senate Majority Leader, Andrew Stewart Cousins. We are short one senator co-sponsor, but others I heard who are not co-sponsors said they'd vote for it on the floor, on a floor vote. She instead wants to go to the direction of a state public bank, but do a feasibility study first. Once you hear the word feasibility study, think of a red flag. That is a Stonewall tactic that says, and Roger Meadows hasn't added anything else in there yet, but I'm sure he will. So, Lainey, what other comments do you want to add in here?
No, as I said, I would love to see this. I think in reading a lot of the information, from people who are unbanked or underbanked, many of these folks simply don't trust banks, or they're confused by banks. Now, I'm not saying that these individuals are necessarily completely blameless. Some of them may not understand good financial management, and that's what can cause things like overdraft charges or whatnot. But I think in other cases, or they're just afraid of the upfront fees that you would have to pay for a checking account. But some of them are also just confused. Some people may have horror stories of getting taken in by bankers who got them into loan products or mortgage products that were really not in their best interest. So I think there are a number of factors here that it could point to, look, if you've got a public community bank And you've got people working in that bank who are not motivated by profit, but who are motivated by, making sure that the bank is solvent, while also ensuring that people in the community have a safe place to stash their funds, while also being able to access lines of credit or loans when needed. That can be a very, very different model for banking, where you don't have an adversarial relationship with the banker. Your banker is your neighbor, and you're handling this business in a neighborly way. And there can be proper education, and people can get an idea of, okay, what does it mean if I take out this loan? What does it mean to my finances, for example? And I think that's critical.